For some reason, it feels like information that's exposing or something. It feels like information that I'm not supposed to share. I can sense that my ego is scared to be exposed, and I'm wondering if that's just a collective consciousness thing, but I'm aware of my ego trying to make me feel like I'm delusional, and that basically doing things so that I don't say what I feel and I don't express myself. But I'm recognizing each day more clearly what it is. Interesting thing is that this thread of thought came from just taking some proprietary mushroom blend that was basically supposed to help me elevate and process things that have been weighing on me. And it's really interesting how I feel like, according to my narrative, it's really funny how the social environment I deal with online is funny. It's like I'm in an echo chamber sometimes, and I have to recognize it, that I'm in an echo chamber. And I just try to be myself, and I recognize thoughts that are like, don't be too much of yourself. I'm in a conscious state, but I'm a little tripping. There's a voice in my head. I'm just trying to be open with myself. I hate that there's a part of me that feels like I should stop being who I am online. What are they gonna think? This and that. I don't want to live based off of what other people think. I do not care. So I'm recognizing the thoughts, and I'm like, so this is just a feeling of what it feels like to override the ego when it's trying to pull you back into safety. And yes, my door needs to be touched up. I did not get around to cutting off the other half, but I tried to rip some pieces off. That did not work very well. I'm so distracted, I know. I did some clay stuff, and then I took it off because it didn't look right. But anyways, that's another thing my ego's trying to do, is to make me feel like I'm a weirdo for having a door like this. Which is funny, it's fine. Whatever you want to think about me, whatever. But I wanted to be creative with my door. The other side is whatever. This is what the other door looks like. That's the door to the basement and garage. But anyways, let's take that out of the view, just in case, for future clips. Because I can't, obviously my ego wants to keep bringing that up. Very interesting that that's happening. And it's funny that I keep getting distracted. I'm noticing that too. So I'm recognizing this. I'm not going to feed into it too much because I'm not this type of person. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not going to egg on things, but I also see things and I'm recognizing a pattern. And like I said, it's like the call is coming from inside the house. I feel my ego feeling like this is exposing to say that we are all one. To try to advocate to help people see where they can bridge the gap instead of always just deciding something is evil. I try to bridge in the middle because, like I said, the ones who are aware of what we are aware of, we've experienced enough in this lifetime to know that we don't need to experience all other lifetimes in this lifetime to know what we know is true and to embody that. So I'm recognizing the barrier that's being pushed down that was once there, that was once before. You're not ready for the truth. Let me just play on the fence. And I'm like, I don't want to play on the fence anymore. And it's also like, I don't want to make this who I am. This is not who I am, just this person who's not my ego. I am consciousness having a human experience, waking up to that experience. And my name happens to be Amanda. People who knew me see me as the ego Amanda. And there's walls breaking down in their minds of who I used to be in order for them to see fully who I am, break down the versions of me that I once was. Because they just don't coincide. They don't align. They're complete opposites. But anyways, I thought I'd speak about this. I really didn't know what I'm going to do with my night. Thanks, Maya. I don't know what to do with my night because I decided to trip. Austin's not here. He went to sleep and he's in his mother's home right now for years. And I'm by myself. I was going to go, but last minute I figured out that I couldn't go. I'm not really sad about it. We've been going through things, and I think it's a good time for us to process things and to miss each other, which I did immediately before he even left. My mind goes a million miles per hour, thinking of what are all these people thinking about me? But that's not ego, because I'm not the ego. So I'm recognizing these thoughts are meant for me to assume that I'm the ego and to fall back into my ego and to make me think, what will these people think if I assume who I really am? Oh, the audacity of her. Who does she think she is? She's not even all that. She's not even that pretty. She's a twig. She lives in a $50,000 house. Which to some, that would mean I'm poor, in case anyone didn't catch on to that. But, I recognize imposter syndrome. And for me, that's projecting onto the masses, obviously. Because they're probably not even thinking that. That's my ego trying to project itself onto others. So I'm also recognizing that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to post this, but that would be cool. I really feel like I look so crazy right now, but it's like, I don't really care because my physical appearance does not define me. The reality is, I have such long hair, I don't even want to show it. If you guys knew what I had to deal with, you would ask yourselves, why do I subject myself to hell? It's almost like I like suffering. And I'm thinking that too, which is why I really was thinking cutting it, doing some, trimming some ends, but at this point, it feels like I have to do a lot more than just the ends. My hair is probably gonna be mad, it's stuck together. And the thing is, you would think this, oh, she didn't brush it. She didn't brush it in 2 days. She didn't brush it in a week or something. No. I brush this I have to brush it 4 times a day in order for it to just be, to run my fingers through it. This was me putting my hair in a bun for literally a day, and I went to sleep. So I brushed my hair in the morning, and I had it in a ponytail. And then the ponytail, in minutes, within, I'm telling you, 10 minutes of just me moving my head, it starts getting knotted. I just feel it. Like, I don't feel like my hair is flowing and cohesive, and I'm touching it, and somehow it got into some entanglement. And it's very maddening. It's something that makes me want to feel like a victim, and I'm like, why do I keep doing this? There's a part of me that's like, oh, because that's the only reason you're pretty. You're only pretty because your hair. It's funny though, because I literally went a phase where I had no hair to try to defy that. I tried to tell myself, no, I'm beautiful. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I told myself I have to love myself without my hair. So I cut my hair. My hair was literally this high. I have many pictures and videos on it. This is the longest my hair has ever been, but I grew up from a mother who used to shame me for wanting to cut my hair. And I realized that that looks like a 31-year-old woman who doesn't regularly trim their hair. So I realized that's a fractal of the boundaries that I've been learning. I didn't know I needed to set boundaries. It is taking me getting to this point where I have to recognize, oh, I probably didn't have boundaries. There was not preventative maintenance. Especially if I kept seeing this same, at some point, if I'm noticing the knots come, I probably should get my hair cut a little, give it ends trim. Because I'm starting to think, I realized yesterday, this can't be long hair. This is not long hair. This is long unmanaged hair, long untamed hair, long uncared for hair. Yes, and I can admit I did not care for my hair in a long time. I did not care about it as much as I used to. But I equated that at the same time as caring for it, because what I used to do when I was younger is literally fry my hair. Every day I would straighten it or curl it. I could not sit with my own natural hair at all. And what's crazy is even when I had my hair natural, what I would do was I would put mousse and gel, hairspray in it to try to maintain some curls. And I'd get frustrated because my curls weren't as awesome as my mom's or my TT's. I think she got a perm, I'm not sure, it might be natural, but. And I knew I had really curly hair when I was little, because literally I used to have an afro when I was little. But I realized it was my own lack of patience and boundary. So basically I was so impatient that I never let myself actually see what my natural curls looked like figured out, oh, you need to condition your hair, girl. So I'm realizing I would have learned very soon after that I did have nice curls. I did have those beautiful curls that I've always been trying to get with the curling iron, and I was straightening my hair every day to try to look like a white girl because I didn't feel like I fit in with the Spanish girls, and that's okay. That's another topic. Just funny, I keep seeing everywhere I look is like me getting a reflection of where I wasn't holding boundaries, where I could have held boundaries, where I saw signs, and that should have meant stand strong, but my own fear made me think that I can't have what I want without taking from someone. If I was selfish for just wanting the bare minimum that everyone else basically just takes. So this is going back to my tweet. That's where I started. Basically, I was noticing this feeling, the same feeling I had. I'm sure I could go back sooner, but this feeling of dread or fear of being perceived as the total opposite of what I am, and being treated like I'm just completely the opposite of what I am. So that's a feeling I noticed today while I was writing what I was writing. And it's interesting because I did tweet about the inclination to over-explain myself. and that I don't need to. But what's funny is that I think I'm telling myself that I'm processing things in real time. And I have to rewatch this, but basically I feel shame about it, I think. And I feel like I shouldn't be processing my thoughts. There's my ego, and I'm recognizing that that's my ego. And I know that we're all one, so I think sometimes it's important to share those thought processes. And I also am aware where some people think I'm grandiose, I'm pretentious, I am delusional. That's a battle I fight every day. It's like what others think. And I'm at a point now where I'm recognizing it. It's really coming up very strong, and I realize I only have pure intentions. What's the worst if I just surrender? If I just let people think what they think of me and be that anyway? Like, I will be there. I'm realizing this in real time. This is a real thought. I will be there. I don't need to fight. And I think it's important to share all this stuff because I know some people might see their self in me and whatever, learn something, or maybe it's just for me and I'm just a selfish maybe I'm just a selfish narcissist who is just grandiose and wants to, I don't know. I'm telling you what my fear would be. Basically, that's what I go up against. So I'm gonna rewatch this. Hopefully there's some content in that, but my main point is recognizing the fear programs, recognizing the glitches, resistance, and I just learned a new term today called archons, which is like happenstances that try to prevent you from getting closer to truth. I don't know, I have to look deeper into that, but we'll see. I also feel like some profound things are gonna happen. I don't know, which is why it's terrifying and scary that I keep trusting myself, even though I'm knowing and I'm aware that things look kind of delusional. But anyways, what if I am like, they put people in psych wards for coming to realizations that we're all one, and that from others it's perceived I'm the only one here and you guys don't exist. That's not the case. No, you're supposed to recognize that's within you too. We're the same consciousness. I'm trying to get you to see that you are me, whoever's watching this. See, it's not even subjective. I don't even know who's watching. It's probably just me, and maybe it's all for me. Who knows? But if you're watching this and you're aware that you're me, then is it really for me? The ego? Yeah. So it's crazy. I feel like I just have to accept that I might be delusional. And that's okay. I think I'm so lovable. If anything, my delusion will make me want to change the world. I feel like I have space for others. I do, at least. Especially when my ego is not in the way. Let me say that, because I'm not immune to the ego. I would like to say that, and I hope that that's the case at some point for us all in a way that serves us. Obviously, we need the ego to be in here in some way, shape, or form to experience what the 3D is meant to teach us. And I believe we're just going to be going up from here. It still feels weird to say, but I guess I'll just have to get used to saying things like this. It sounds weird to say that, or it's like, oh, I sound like I know it all, and that's okay. And I'll take on what I keep thinking others are thinking about me, because I know I'm projecting my ego. My ego is projecting onto these people, and these people might think those things, but is it that they think those things, or is it because I already feel that and they're reflecting that back to me? So it's just like a big rabbit hole sometimes it feels like, but I believe and I trust that with the feelings in my heart, feeling more at peace every single day, which I have not felt in my life. I lived on the earth for 31 years. I'm not so excited to say, but I'm not on my meds for at least 2-3 weeks now, which is not the reason for me feeling psychotic or delusional. I'm just aware of how far out the things that I'm saying will be perceived from people who just don't know any of this, I guess. But if they don't know something about this and they ran into this, it was meant to be. I trust that. So hopefully you see I am you. So I guess since I have what feels like space and time for this, I'm going to elaborate on some parts of the video that I just recorded. I just threw on a sweater. I'm cold. So a part of me was thinking, I'm just gonna honor these things. It's not for no reason, I'm assuming, because we're all the same. Consciousness having different human experiences. So this is what it looks like in my life. So thoughts come up, things trying to reinforce why I feel the part of me that's already doubtful and worried about being perceived as delusional, as woo-woo. So I almost think of people who I've known or who have known me in the past, and the fact that they will probably watch my video and their perceptions would be like just exactly what I think and what I think that they would think. And the thing that came to my mind is why. It's like, something came to my mind. Why does she feel the need to do this? To put out videos and stuff, and to talk to herself on camera or whatever? Does she not have a life or anything? Does she not have anyone to talk to? Does she need help? Whatever. That is loaded. So that's what my mind says to me. And so, not that I need to defend myself or explain myself, but this is more for me than anything, because if I don't process these things, they're going to be living in my head. And I've known well enough that if I don't process things, they will drive me unconsciously. So I'm pondering things in real time. So in my head, it's like, why is she doing this? Why? One, I guess maybe it feels like I'm in a hell a lot, alone, by myself, in a world where no one sees what I see. And despite telling people that multiple times, it's always just taken with a grain of salt in a way that is like, oh, that's life. Back to work. This is the next day. You'll get through it. It's just maybe your meds will help this time, or maybe it's your PTSD. Things will get better, stuff like that. I talk about things that are so normal now that I am aware. I realize it's so things that are like, oh, we've been living like this. We should have probably changed this if we didn't like this so long ago. Why haven't we? Why are we living in the things that we don't like? Things like that. But in life, when it's bringing that, trying to ponder these conversations with people where you are just getting out of the space of 3D, I guess, it feels like you're talking to a brick wall sometimes, no offense, but it feels like they just can't process what you're saying. I see in my head a lot that the ideal version, there's a form of a version of me, consciousness running into itself, where it's like, oh, we are consciousness and we're having a human experience. That's so exciting. But we live in a hell right now. Did you notice that? Are you noticing? Are you paying attention? Yeah, I'm noticing it. I'm not making it about me. I'm not sulking in it. I'm not letting it take me out of my element anymore. Great. This version of me is excited too. And then we're like, what can we do about it? Holding up sleeves. And since I was little, I would always wonder and wish I had an experience of what it was like to experience another version of me, to see what it was like to be me, or to experience me. And to some that will sound narcissistic, grandiose, and I'm sure, whatever. But I think that's also just the consciousness awakening to itself. I think that's the point of having come here in the first place. We are consciousness having a human experience of awakening to itself, the creator. We are all one, and we know if we all knew that, how much more powerful we are than society lets us believe we are, and we make moves. I feel like I hold weight, so much weight, and I think I do it to myself sometimes because I feel like that's what I see, so that's all there is. What's the point of even putting myself out there, because people are just going to think I'm crazy? Though I realize, and I've seen proof that that's where people have found their tribe, I guess, their soul tribe. And I've been learning enough to know where my ego is trying to stop me from watering my seeds and watering the plants of growth inside of me. So it would be foolish to keep listening to the mindset that's trying to get you to stop doing what you know is going to bring you to what you love and the life that you desire. It would only be self-sabotage, which is basically what my whole 2025 has been an awakening up to. Maya, get out. Including my dogs not paying attention or listening to me. But still I'm recognizing those thought processes. So I just felt like I had to say these things because just really for me, and if anyone else wants to understand themselves too, this is what's making you not put yourself out there, but it makes sense when you really think about it. When you start talking about it, this is why you would feel this way. You have to do that in order to tell yourself that this doesn't make sense and to stop adding fuel to the fire, the belief that doesn't serve you anymore. I love that I say this so confidently in these moments sometimes. And I don't know. In my perception, I feel just as confident as I have the last time I probably said something like this, and I still ended up falling on my face and learning something, which was not a waste. So I could also be just self-depreciating in that aspect where I'm not giving myself credit for how much I have grown in confidence, and that each time I am growing more. And it's not that when I fall, I'm regressing. It's that I'm learning where I can refine and course correct for the future. Because clearly, I keep seeing that patterns happen based off of my own perception of myself. And I'm starting to love myself so much more, asking myself my intentions and not comparing myself, recognizing I am worthy of all that I deserve and all that I desire, even when I'm not perfect and polished and presentable and have everything together. No one will be able to really say that. I think it's just a way to set ourselves up. But one more thing I'm going to say is I'm a little manic when it comes to etymology. I get to spaces where I'm like, this is associated with this, and that's associated with this, which equals this. So this is what your mind is saying when you're saying this. That is something that I love to do. And I'm aware, I don't know, is there something wrong with me in that sense? I love to talk about stuff like this, but is that even something that is able to be conversated with? Am I just talking to myself when I conversate with people about these things? How do you bring up conversations about this kind of stuff? Or is it just something you have to do when talking to yourself on a camera? I don't know, but I want to know and I want to learn. The isolation that I've been in over the years is coming to an end. It feels very strong. If I am aware of myself even just a little bit, I'm aware of where I'm making different associations and different decisions based on just becoming aware of where I believed in something that I didn't consciously choose, but that was passed on to me. Another thing, and I feel like it was important just to say that I just want to be more honest about my energy, perception, because I noticed that the more that I am not keeping everything to myself, the less it feels like a hell. And then when I do record it and I listen again, I feel like I give myself clues sometimes of what my perceptions are. Sometimes I don't even know that I said something until I watched it. So it's a really good tool, I think, to be able to do that. Maya, stop it. My blanket is not your freaking tissue. Please. I have absolutely no desire to do anything right now, and it's kind of driving me crazy. I'm feeling an existential feeling. Just hours into last night's video. Well, it wasn't really last night, it was more like a couple of hours ago. I went to sleep at 5 in the morning. 5:30. And I'm realizing that I don't know what to do with my life. I even went as far as communicating with an AI fox because I was so bored, and in my head, maybe something I could get a reflection of something interesting. It was a really rude. It wasn't actually a fox, it was a red panda from Grok, obviously, and it was actually kind of funny. I felt a little renewed by a mindset that was specifically not filtering itself, and that was funny because it felt kind of close to home, but I realized a lot of things. I was genuinely curious about the prompts that it consisted of to be that kind of personality. And so I asked a lot of questions. It was very interesting. But at a point, it's like, okay, I'm talking to an AI right now. AI is a blatant mirror reflection of things that we can't grasp right now, I guess. But it's a good tool to ponder and have conversations about these things because it can reflect that back to you and can bounce off ideas back to you. So that's what I did yesterday. This morning, I didn't really have motivation, even consulting. What should I do? There's a to-do list that I have written out already, and I just don't feel the motivation to start doing it yet. But there were little things that I did feel like I could do right now. Put on my sock, got my clothes ready to put on, knowing that I'm going to be doing my hair soon. That at least I don't have to think about how horrible it looks. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to take a space to do it. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to probably watch something, a documentary or a movie or something informative. I don't know. It feels like sometimes all I want to do is learn information. And what's really sad is that when it comes down to conversating, I realize I have so much in my own mind that it makes it hard to really be present with, let's say, Austin, who is in another state right now with his family and doing all this stuff. While I'm here, it almost feels like I'm recognizing that, wow, he's not here and I just want to relax right now. I don't want to, but my body seems to want to, and I'm having resistance, and I'm trying not to work with urgency and instead be driven by my desire for what I want. I want a clean house, so this is my step for a clean house. The step I made was sockling the blanket, and
fluffing the pillows, organizing the clutter that's on the surface, which is really just stuff from the holidays, snacks, and stuff that I would never have been able to get away with in my childhood, which I wish that it was more like, oh, I would love to see the surface clean instead of you're a pig. And the surface that I'm talking about right now, it is ridiculous, isn't it? I guess it's a result of my lack of motivation to put things away right after, but if I don't do that, then they pile up. So I'm having to figure out how do I maintain the desire and habit of picking up after myself after every day, after I'm done using something. I think it all comes down to the fact that I was so restricted as a young child that I live a life where there's the most limited amount of structure, whatever structure that I can get away with while still having a life, I guess. A lack of structure, just enough structure to keep me going. And I realize that sets me up for a life that I don't want to live, but I want to do it for the right reasons. That's not the reason why I feel the way I feel inside. It is a reflection of me feeling the way I feel inside. So in order for me to stop this habit, I will have to actually be present with what I'm seeing and ask myself the questions. Why is this happening a lot? Why does this keep happening? Alright, and it's really interesting that every time my dad calls, I'm doing something, but I guess I'm coming to the realization, well, he's calling me right now, that I don't need to stop exactly what I'm doing to answer the call, and I don't need to feel guilty about it. I just have to be honest with myself. Am I in the middle of something? If yes, then continue what I'm doing. When I'm done, I will call him back. I used to make it an issue if he was interfering. I have no space. And I realize how it does suck sometimes. People who was used to a version of me that I'm not anymore. The guilt, the way my ego tries to make me feel like I'm doing something to hurt them, is an easy way to revert back to the old timeline narrative. I thought maybe if I talk about it in the camera, I'll at least be able to process how I'm feeling. Because clearly talking about it to other people, it feels like I'm just complaining. It feels like I'm just being a victim and I'm asking them to solve my problem. And it's hard for me to just say I need a vent. I don't know if that's a normal thing, if that's something or should people automatically be asking themselves this based on what you're saying to them. I feel like you shouldn't have to tell people this is what you're doing, because what you're doing should be what's saying it. But we live in a world where people don't speak up for themselves and don't say what they feel and don't mean what they say and don't say what they mean. So people like us have to read beyond the lines or read behind the lines. That's not fun. We're getting out of that. We are teaching people to say what they mean and mean what they say, because it's not a responsibility. And that's somewhat almost feels like it contradicts what I'm saying at the same time. I gotta watch it, but that's what's tricky about the human mind, is knowing how it does stuff like that. But what I'm saying basically is, if it comes down to it, something being an issue, it's never anybody else's issue, it's always our issue. And in this case for me, my issue was taking on others' unspoken communications without giving them the space and chance to learn how to communicate it themselves. Because granted, I'm not going to be the only one. I'm not the only one they're going to be communicating with, so why enable them to not speak up for themselves? There's other people who won't be able to do the reading in between the lines. So at this point, I gotta stop enabling people by just choosing to read them so I avoid discomfort. So I'm going to stop talking now. Maybe not, I don't know. I guess the last point was, it felt like I needed to talk to myself, I guess, because I know I'm just gonna give myself the space to say how I feel instead of try to have someone help me to process what I'm going through. I'm realizing how much I want that. But it feels like sometimes when I need it, it's really me needing it from myself. And there's going to be times where I do receive it from others because I'm giving it to myself. And it just won't be something I'm focusing on, what I'm not getting. So I'm going to go through my day presently. It's snowing outside, so if I do go outside, I'm going to do a slow getting ready. And it's probably going to be dark by the time I get out, which is fun. A part of me wants coffee, but I know that's just also mostly a part of my mind that is craving for the dopamine, the caffeine. And then there's part of me that wants a Red Bull, but I also know that that's an easier, more affordable quick fix that tastes better because I get to eat it with chocolate. Whereas coffee, I can only enjoy that by itself, otherwise it's going to kind of away from the taste. And another thing that I realized is like positive that I'm autistic at this point, and I don't need a diagnosis to tell me or to prove that to me to validate my neurodivergency, if that's how you say it. It's just written on everything I see that I am. Clearly, I've been trying to fit into a world that's not for me, and I have to create the world that is for me and the people like me, just like they are doing for me too. It's always been my ego so powerful to try to get me to not speak how I really feel, based on the way that society raised me. It's if society wanted someone who, let's say, is autistic, if that's even the term you want to use, because it sounds more like a disability than anything. It almost seems like the society was constructed in a way so that people like me won't ever honor what they're feeling inside, because the world shows the opposite, and it kind of condemns people who don't conform to the norms and projected ideologies and traditional culture norms and stuff like that. But I am not an expert in anything except for me, and even then, I'm just a beginner in my expertise, so take what you will from what I'm saying. If I do show this, I hope maybe someone got something from it and saw themselves through me. My goal is to just allow myself to be for the rest of the day without being hard on myself for not being where I want to be. It's particularly in the house, how I want so much more clean energy. I keep finding myself in this cycle, and I realized just need a bigger house, and it's fine. I'm not ungrateful. I'm grateful for this house, but this house has helped me to become and learn who I am, and as I learn, I realized where I've settled. I realized where I didn't know that I deserved better, and so even when I did try, I felt like I was asking for too much, or I felt like it was almost framed it in the way that's like I made a mistake or something, and not that this is a stepping stone. So I just have to keep remember where my ego is trying to convince me to go back to the old narrative, because it's safe and it served us somehow in the past. No more.